Hey, I'm Alex Yaros. This is my new horror story. Hope you enjoy it. Subscribe, like, and let me know what you think in the comments.
The toy was waiting on the doorstep when I came home. No note, no package, just a single object placed perfectly in the center of the welcome mat. I hadn't seen it in years. But the second my eyes met its oversized ears and gleaming teeth, I felt the cold bloom of memory, like biting down on metal. It was him, Labubu. My breath caught in my chest. I hadn't seen that thing since I was a kid, back when I lived with my grandparents. I'd buried it, literally, in the woods, at night, after it started showing up in my dreams and scratching on the inside of my closet door. I hadn't told anyone, not because I thought they wouldn't believe me, but because I thought they might. Now it was back, and it knew where I lived. I didn't pick it up. I circled it, watched it, took a photo, and texted it to my brother. He didn't respond, not right away. When he did, 2 hours later, it was just one word: run. But by then, it was already inside. I found it on the living room shelf. Same pose, same expression. Like it had always been there, like I had decorated around it. I grabbed a trash bag, wrapped the toy in 3 layers, and took it to the dumpster down the block. Came back. It was on my bed. Dust on the blanket. Tiny prints. I left the house, booked a hotel, but I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing it in the corners, in reflections, a flash of teeth in the elevator mirror, the glint of a white eye between the blinds. On the second night, my brother called. His voice was shaky. "Did you touch it?" he asked. "Of course I touched it," I whispered. "I had to throw it away." "Then you let it in," he said. "He can't move unless you do. That's the rule. You move him, he moves you." I tried to ask what that meant, but the line went dead. I never heard from him again. When I went to his apartment, it was empty. Not abandoned, empty. No furniture, no clothes, no trace he'd ever lived there, except for one thing: a shelf in the bedroom, and on it, Labubu, grinning, waiting. I backed out, didn't look away until I was in the car. I didn't sleep that night. I heard footsteps in my hallway, soft and irregular, like bare feet. I turned on every light, locked every door, taped a knife under my pillow. But I knew it wouldn't matter. Not anymore. Because the real rule isn't about movement. It's about memory. If you remember him, if you truly remember what he is, he stays. And now I remembered everything. How he first appeared when I was 6.
How he never spoke out loud but somehow made me understand him. How he showed me dreams of empty places, bone piles, and doors that opened the wrong way. And how he always smiled, even when I cried, especially when I cried. I remembered the first time I tried to burn him. The flames had gone blue. The air had smelled like sugar and rot. And when the fire died, he was still there. Not melted. Just clean, new, fresh. Like I had helped him, fed him, gave him shape. Now he was back, stronger, louder, and he didn't wait for night anymore. I'd be brushing my teeth, and I'd hear him breathing behind the shower curtain. I'd be walking to work, and I'd see him sitting on a bus stop bench, staring straight at me through traffic. other people didn't see him. Or maybe they chose not to. Maybe that was the other rule. You only see what you believe in. And I believed. Every night he got closer, sat at the foot of the bed, then the pillow, then my chest. I could feel the weight of him, light but solid like a house cat made of static. He never blinked, never stopped smiling, and I started talking to him. Not because I wanted to, because I needed to. Silence made it worse. Silence made him move. I'd ask him what he wanted. He'd whisper things I didn't understand, echoes of dreams I hadn't had yet, images of places I'd never been, faces I didn't recognize, some crying, some laughing, all broken in the eyes. I stopped going to work. People called. I didn't answer. I boarded up the windows, blocked every mirror. But I still saw him. In the shadows, in the glow of my phone screen. Once, in the glass of my own eye. I started to feel him inside me, not metaphorically, literally. Like a second heartbeat, a second mind, a hunger that wasn't mine. I stopped eating, slept in shifts, counted the seconds between each visit. But he never truly left. He just changed shape. One morning I woke up with scratches on my ribs, tiny letters, carved faintly into skin. Second house. I don't know what it means, not exactly. But I think I'm the house now, the second one, the one he really wanted. He lived in the toy, then in my memories, then in my home, and now he's somewhere deeper, somewhere inside, and he's not smiling anymore. He's waiting for me to let someone else see him, for you to read this. Because if you saw his face in your mind just now, if even for a second, you brought him closer. And now he remembers you too. He always remembers who looked first. I stopped hearing from people. My phone still worked. Signal, full bars. No notifications. Just silence. I sent messages into the void. Old friends, co-workers, my landlord. No replies. The world didn't feel gone. It just felt distant. Like it had shifted slightly sideways, and I was stuck between seconds. I watched the clocks. They ticked, but the time didn't change. My reflection no longer mirrored me. It mimicked. Smiled too long. Blinked out of sync. Labubu sat in the hallway now. Never moved in front of me, but somehow he was always closer. I began to realize something. There were more of him. Slight differences. One with smaller teeth, one with no eyes, one with fur that pulsed like it was breathing. They weren't copies. They were echoes from other people, other houses, other minds that remembered him. Maybe others who tried to bury him like I did, and maybe not all of them escaped. One night I dreamed of them. A room filled with men and women, some children, some old, all pale, sitting silently in a circle. In the center, dozens of Labubus.
Each one perched on a lap, a shoulder, a chest. Every person smiling. Dead eyes. Frozen faces. Not sleep. Not peace. Just surrender. I woke up gasping.
There were marks on my walls now. Drawings in black charcoal I hadn't made. Rough figures with long ears. Spirals in place of eyes. A phrase repeated beneath each one. Where you look, he lives. The power flickered. My water turned red. Not blood, not quite. Just enough to make me hesitate. Just enough to make me wonder. Then came the knock. Soft. Uncertain. Like a stranger who doesn't know if they're welcome. I didn't move. Another knock. Then a whisper. He's with me too. I opened the door. A girl stood there, maybe 20. Hair messy, face pale, eyes haunted. In her arms was a toy. Labubu. Not mine. Hers. Different color. Darker grin. She stared at me for a long time. He said you'd remember, she whispered. You were the first. First what? I asked. First to believe. Before I could speak, she stepped inside. Labubu in her arms looked straight at mine, and they both smiled wider. She stayed 3 days, never said her name, didn't sleep, didn't eat, just sat, rocking slowly, clutching the creature to her chest. Sometimes I heard her humming to it. Sometimes I heard it humming back. On the third night, I found her standing at the mirror, whispering. When I looked closer, the reflection showed 3 people. Me, her, and a third figure standing between us. Tall, long ears, white eyes. Smiling. He's tired of toys. He wants to be real. Then she turned to me, smiled, and disappeared. Gone. No sound. No flash. No trace. Just her toy. Her Labubu. Still on the floor. Eyes closed. Sleeping. My own was gone. Replaced. Absorbed. Grown. I felt different after that. Lighter. Numb. Like something had passed through me. I tried to leave the apartment, but the door no longer opened to the hallway. It opened to woods, to fog, to the same path I buried him on as a child. I closed it, opened it again. Same forest. Only now I could hear something in the trees. Breathing, walking, calling. Not words, but names. My name. Over and over from different voices. Old friends, teachers, my dead grandfather. I slammed it shut and sat on the floor for hours. When I opened it again, it was just black. Empty black. I haven't tried since. I've run out of food. Time is a blur. The lights flicker on and off, but they don't bring day. And now I hear them. Not just him, them, the others who saw. The ones who gave him shape. The ones who carried him before me. They don't want rescue. They want audience. They whisper to me in a dozen voices. Show him again. Let someone else see. Let someone else believe. So that's what I'm doing now.
I'm telling you. I'm giving you the chance to look. You didn't mean to read this far, but you did, and now you've remembered him too. He doesn't need an invitation anymore, just a second of attention, a whisper, a shelf, a thought, and he's already smiling behind you.
I started hearing music, not from speakers, not from anywhere outside. It came from beneath the floorboards, quiet, mechanical lullabies on repeat, warped like an old cassette left in the sun. Sometimes I recognized the melody, a nursery tune my grandmother used to hum, a radio jingle from childhood. One night it played my brother's voice, looped in a perfect falsetto. Run, run, run. I ripped the floor open. The boards came up like paper. Beneath them, black dirt, too fine and too cold. I dug with my hands, nails cracked, skin tore, but I couldn't stop. Something inside me needed to find the source. I dug until my fingers struck something hard. Not wood, not stone, metal, a latch. I pulled it. A door opened, not like a hatch, but like a mouth. No stairs, just a hole and a smell. Copper, dust, sweet decay. I leaned over the edge. Something moved far below. A shape, small, smiling. I slammed the floor shut, tried to cover it, but the music never stopped. It played louder now, clearer, from every wall, every socket, from inside my head. Labubu sat on the couch, swinging his legs slowly, like a child waiting for a bedtime story. His eyes were glowing now, not brightly, but enough to show me the edges of something else, something behind him, a shadow that didn't match his shape, taller, multi-limbed, breathing. When I blinked, it vanished. He tilted his head. You opened the way. What is that down there? I asked. Your real house, he said. The first one, the one that remembers you. Why me? I asked. Why now? He grinned. Because you're hollow. You've forgotten too much. That makes room. Room for what? Room for me. The lights flickered again. For a moment, the apartment looked different. Old, scorched, the wallpaper curling like skin, the windows covered in nails. I saw marks on the walls again, spirals, eyes, teeth, words carved deep. He lives through who remembers. The door in the floor began to open on its own, inch by inch. Something rose from it. Not Labubu, something shaped like him but taller, unfolding, crawling up the walls, eyes blinking out of sync, limbs stretching too far. It whispered in dozens of voices. House of flesh, house of thought, house of fear, we are coming through. I ran, or thought I did, but every door led to the same room. Every window showed the same black woods. Every mirror showed me older, grayer, eyes wrong, teeth too many, and Labubu, always in the background, always smiling, always waving. I fell to the floor, cried, begged, screamed, but nothing changed, nothing stopped. He stepped closer, placed his little paw on my chest. "You were the best one," he said. "You believed the longest." "What happens now?" I asked. "You live," he said, "and you carry me, just like the others." "Others?" I breathed. He nodded. "Look behind you." I turned, and the room was full of people. Hundreds, thousands, standing shoulder to shoulder, all of them smiling, all of them holding their own Labubu. Every single one, eyes locked on me. And in unison they spoke, "Welcome to the second house." They didn't touch me. They didn't need to. Just stepped forward until the room was gone, swallowed in eyes and grins and hollow smiles. Then silence. The kind of silence that hurts. I don't know how long I stood there. My body didn't feel like mine anymore. My breath wasn't steady. My thoughts came in pieces. They parted for him, Labubu. He stood taller now, almost my height. His paws were hands. His eyes were no longer eyes, just voids that swallowed the light. He walked past me, and the crowd whispered without sound, like a breeze made of teeth. I followed, not because I wanted to, because I had no other direction. He led me into a hallway that didn't exist in my apartment, narrow, pulsing like a throat. The walls were covered in photos, millions of them, people with their Labubu, families, children, all smiling too hard, some scratched out, some burned around the edges. At the end of the hallway was a door. The wood was rotted, but the doorknob gleamed. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Labubu turned to me. "This is where they become," he said. "Who?" I asked. "The ones who stop fighting. And if I don't open it, then you'll stay in the hall forever." The door opened anyway. Inside, I saw myself, sitting in a chair, silent, mouth sewn shut with black thread. Labubu sat on my shoulder, whispering into my ear. The other me nodded slowly, staring into nothing. On the wall behind him was a hole, not large, just enough for something to watch from, something breathing, something smiling wider than possible. I screamed. The other me blinked and turned his head, and he looked straight at me. Not confused, not afraid. He smiled, like he'd been waiting. I ran, back down the hall, past the photos, the walls, the crowd, but nothing changed. Every door I opened led to another version of that room. Different furniture, different clothes, same me, same silence, same whispering. The photos on the walls began to change. They showed me, in the chair, on the couch, in the woods, always holding him, always grinning. I clawed at the walls. The photos bled. The hallway groaned. A voice echoed, not Labubu's, deeper. "You gave him shape. You named him. You fed him with thought. Now he is fed. Now he is real." And just like that, I understood. Labubu isn't a demon, not a spirit. He's a memory parasite, a concept that grows with belief, nesting in childhood and blooming in the fractured spaces of adult minds. The more you think of him, the more doors you open, until he finds a way through, not just into your house, but into yourself. I felt something shift in my spine, a new rhythm under my skin. I looked at my hands. My nails were longer. My smile hurt to suppress. And behind me, I felt the breath of the thing I'd carried too long. Labubu, still small, still quiet, but grinning wider. You're almost ready. Soon you'll stop writing. Soon you'll start calling. Calling what? Calling others. Because that's the final step. You become the next door, the next box, the next welcome mat, and someone else opens it. Someone like you. You didn't mean to get this far, but now that you have, he knows your name. He's already smiling, and he's waiting on your shelf. Tonight. I stopped counting days. Time folded in on itself. My apartment no longer had corners. The walls pulsed like lungs. Every surface felt alive. Labubu was no longer hiding. He walked freely now. Cooked meals I couldn't eat. Turned on the TV to static. Spoke without opening his mouth. Sometimes I saw him out of the window, walking into other buildings, other homes, sometimes appearing in 2 places at once. And I began to see the signs on posters, in graffiti, in glitches on my phone screen, his shape, his grin. The word remember scratched beneath. At first, I thought I was hallucinating, but then I saw others noticing too. Their faces changed, stiffened, a flash of memory, and then denial. They'd blink, look away, and never mention it again. I understood then. This is how he spreads. Not by possession, by possibility, by recognition. If you've ever seen him once, even in passing, he waits, quietly, and the moment your mind slips, the moment your walls weaken, he steps in. People started knocking on my door. Strangers, blank-eyed, holding toys that looked like him, asking if this was the right place. I stopped answering. I boarded the door, but the knocks continued. From the walls, from the ceiling, from inside the floor. One night, I woke up, and I wasn't alone. Not just Labubu, a room full of them. Not toys, not echoes, variants. Some taller, some crawling, some without faces, all smiling. One spoke, not with words, but directly into my skull. This is the seed. You are the soil. Let us grow. They didn't attack. They didn't move. They just waited for me to decide. That's the final horror. The choice is always yours. You can resist and rot from within, or accept and become part of him. A host, a watcher, a voice that whispers in the dark. I said no. I said it 1,000 times, screamed it, cried it, cut it into my arms, into the walls, into mirrors. No, no, no. But it didn't matter, because it wasn't about what I wanted anymore. It was about what I started. I was the one who remembered him first. I was the one who dug him up. I was the one who carried him. Now I'm the one who writes, who speaks, who calls. And if you're hearing this, then you've opened the door too. You didn't mean to. You didn't believe at first, but something about the grin stayed in your head. Something about the eyes stuck in your dreams. And that's enough. That's how he begins. He won't come tonight. Not yet. First you'll feel watched. Then you'll hear your name in static. Then you'll find him somewhere small, forgotten, waiting with that smile. Because you saw him. You saw him first, and he never, ever forgets a face.